course, the biggest promise is to Allah that we will be His slaves, right? This is one promise. But additionally, there are other promises we make every single day. We don't keep them. It's a kind of promise that you make with your employer who says you have 30 minutes off for break, but you take 2 hours off because he's not there that day. Who's not fulfilling their promise? And when you're asked, why don't you fulfill your promise? You say, well, he's not there. He's not watching. And the security camera's off or something. Right? But kiraman katibin, they're still documenting. Right? So, وَالْمُوفُونَ بِعَهْدِهِمْ إِذَا عَهَدُوا. This is now it's getting tougher. This is part 3, by the way. Right? On the manifest, there was giving, then there was establishment of prayer and zakah, and then now fulfilling promises, if and when you get into a promise. And then finally, وَالصَّابِرِينَ فِي الْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ وَحِينَ الْبَأْسِ. This is the final, the culminating ingredient in being a good person, being good, attaining goodness. And those above and beyond everything else, and I say this because as-sabirina is mansoob, ina, instead of una, al-mufuna was marfu', as-sabirina is mansoob. And just to make it simple, nasb ala al-madh. This is the state is changed in order to highlight or elevate the status of a word. So above and beyond everything else, these are people who persevere, who are patient, and the talk allegedly was titled Patience and Perseverance, right? Above and beyond everything else is the patience and the perseverance and the commitment and the constancy and the consistency, all of which are embedded meanings inside the word sabr. These are people of sabr. Why is sabr given such high importance? Why is it mentioned in such a climactic form? Iman was mentioned, giving was mentioned, salah was mentioned, zakah was mentioned, fulfilling promises were mentioned, and then consistency and perseverance. Why is so highlighted? Why? Because goodness is not something you can do one day and not do the next day. You have to be constant. If you establish salah on Thursday and fail to establish it by weekend, then you're missing sabr. If you observe the hudud in one year and then fail to observe them the next, then you're missing sabr. If a sister started wearing hijab and started preserving her dignity, and then after a few weeks, a few years, or maybe Ramadan, she was good, and then she couldn't stay consistent after that, what is she missing? Sabr. All of your goodness, this entire building, there's this beam in the middle of it, and that's sabr. You let that go, the whole thing will fall apart. وَالصَّابِرِينَ. And this sabr, obviously is not easy, so Allah mentions that this is not sabr in good times. Actually, having sabr in Ramadan is easy. Shaitan is chained up, everybody else around you is going to the masjid, right? There's no food at home, so it's easier not to eat, right? It's convenient. But now Allah says, وَالصَّابِرِينَ فِي الْبَأْسَاءِ وَالضَّرَّاءِ وَحِينَ الْبَأْسِ. Tougher, toughest. You know, to be perseverant in times of war, in difficult times, in tough times. وَالضَّرَّاءِ. And then when the harm starts affecting you yourself. And if there was time allotted, we talk about each of these components, وَحِينَ الْبَأْسِ, and even in the middle of the battlefield, even at that time. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا. Those are the people, أُولَٰئِكَ, by the way, لِلتَّبْعِيدِ. Those. When you say those, is that near or far? You're being told that's a pretty high standard. You want to get all the way over there, you better get to work. Those are the people that confirm. الَّذِينَ صَدَقُوا. They're the ones who are actually truthful in actually being good, or being true to its definition. وَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُتَّقُونَ. And those are the actual people that have saved themselves, who take proper precaution. Now, I'm using a general translation for the word taqwa, it means a lot more than that, right? But this one ayah, subhanAllah, has this really comprehensive definition of what does it mean to be a good person. What is the Qur'an's definition of a good person? What ingredients are in it? And in the end, what does it all depend on sabr? The first ingredient, the hidden ingredient, was what? Iman. And the final ingredient, which will make it or break it, is sabr, and everything else is in between. SubhanAllah, it's a complete picture of goodness that Allah Azza wa Jal gives to us in His book. May Allah Azza wa Jal make us of those who attain goodness. May Allah accept all of our salawat and our qiyam, and make us a people who understand the message of the Quran and love and follow the sunnah of His Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Of course, the biggest promise is to Allah that we will be His slaves, right? This